So welcome to the next episode of our journey into motorsport in 2020. Thank you to everyone who supported the first episode last week. I really appreciate that. It's nice to sort of get into a brand new series and hopefully we'll just continue growing from here. I realise it's completely different from the content that I did previously, speaking about Formula 1 and gaming before that, but this is sort of the passion I have for YouTube right now, is producing this sort of documentary style content, sort of evolving on from what we produced at university. So as you can see, GoPro here today. I'm doing a bit of a driving cam as we're heading to Bayford Meadows for the next round of our karting championship. Now, the aim is to produce a video every single week. That is definitely what I want to do, but I'm not gonna, I suppose I can't 100% commit to that. I mean, if I don't do anything in a week, I'm not gonna make a video for the sake of it. I'm only gonna produce videos that I think are worthy of uploading. So yeah, it'll most likely be every week. I'm sure I can find something to do, but yeah, I wouldn't say 52 videos. Well, it definitely won't be 52 videos because we've already skipped a few weeks, but nonetheless, it will be a good amount of content coming out through this journey. So we're going to Bayford Meadows today, a track I really enjoy, but I'm not particularly confident. We've only been around this circuit in these particular karts once, because we went in these karts in the wet, and then once we went around this circuit in the dry, but it was with the slower karts. So we've been here 3 years in a row, but only in this layout and this certain kart once. So yeah, I'm not overly confident that I'm going to come away with some victories, especially with some really fast people coming today. We've got some people from Formula 1 coming, so yeah, there's going to be 8 of us out there, a bit of a mix between the normal regulars to the championship and a few that obviously work with me at Formula 1. So yeah, I'm hoping to just pick up a decent amount of points. I realise in our little championship my main sort of battle is with Tom, my cousin, and I know he's very quick around Bayford. We've been very close here in the past, so I foresee him getting some good results, but of course I want to go ahead and get them myself, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm not fully optimistic that I'm going to come away scoring as many points as I have done in the previous few rounds. Other stuff to speak about before we do get into that footage. Things on my mind in the immediate future, I think I might have touched it on the last video, is that firstly and most foremostly is that I need to buy a towing vehicle. So over the last couple of weeks, myself and my dad have been looking into possible options. I think it sort of comes down to the typical cars that you'd probably tow a vehicle with, so estate cars and SUVs. I think that both myself and my dad would rather have an estate car, so that's the route we're going down. But yeah, by the time this video goes up, probably a decision has been made. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and maybe the comments below about what you would choose if you were towing a vehicle. I mean, we're looking at probably 1,800 to 2 tons in terms of how much we're going to need to tow. So it's a completely different side of motorsport that we didn't really explore in the last sort of documentary series. This is something completely different, sort of owning your own vehicle and getting it to the circuit and all of the little things I didn't have to think about last time. So yeah, that's the first thing, and then hopefully, I don't know, maybe in a month's time or around then, I'll look to get an actual license, because I'm 23, I don't have the ability to actually drive on the road with my license with a trailer. So yeah, I've got to go and get a towing license and get a trailer as well. So yeah, it's a fair bit of expenditure coming out of my bank account, but I kind of knew this when I was going to go racing, that it was going to be expensive. Fingers crossed some sponsors are going to help me through this, but nothing is confirmed yet. But yeah, some good talks have been had, so yeah, let's just hope they all go ahead. But yeah, it's all definitely becoming a little bit more real now, because I'll be perfectly honest, for so long, even the 2 races that I entered in already, it didn't really become real until the immediate days before. And yeah, I'm starting to feel it right now. There's quite a lot to plan before you go racing. It's definitely not a decision that you can make in the moment and everything be done. It does take a while. So yeah, there are a few more things to tick off the list. Maybe I'll show you what I end up getting as a tow car. Nonetheless, as I said, we'll skip ahead to what happens at Bayford. Yeah, fingers crossed for a good result there, and I'll get back to you afterwards, and I'm hoping for a good result. Hopefully you are too. And after karting, I've got some more footage to share with you, but I'll speak about that later. So, cheers, guys. So, welcome to Bayford Meadows for the next round of our little go-kart championship. So, today we're joined by the regulars as well as some colleagues from F1. So, I'm quite excited to have them alongside me. Some think 3 people that hadn't really been here with our group before, so it's nice to have them involved. So we're starting off with the qualifying race here today, basically a session where we're sent out of the pit lane, and it's whoever crosses the line first wins the qualifying race. Now I was sent out of the pits, I think 5th or 6th in queue, and John was sent out first, and you can see we've just overtaken him. Now we're currently in 3rd, Tom is in 2nd, and Victor is just up front in 1st. And I think Victor might have made a slight mistake there. He got maybe a bit sideways and ended up on the side of the track there, and then was kind enough to let us through. So a bit of a weird dynamic here, because it's a qualifying race and also a qualifying session. So some people are prioritising the fastest lap overall to get themselves first on the grid, whereas myself, I'm prioritising getting to the front of the field and getting the points for the championship. So you can see here, Tom and I are both lapping people now, and we're really pushing to 110% to try and win this qualifying race. I'm trying to put the pressure on Tom here because I really want to get this victory. It'd be really important for me because I wasn't feeling particularly great in the car. I wasn't feeling that I was going for the fast lap times. You can see I make a mistake there and lose a bunch of time. Luckily, Victor doesn't manage to quite get past me there, but you can see now we've lost quite a bit of time to Tom, and we're not really catching him up at any sort of substantial rate. But he makes a little mistake similar to what I did the lap before and spins around and loses the position there. And Victor actually behind me spun as well, so it's actually myself leading from Tom at work. So this is Tom, my cousin, and you can see he goes wide here and just has a spin. A very, very strange incident there. It's running a little bit wide, and I think once he realised it, he tried to get out of it, and unfortunately it still spun him around. So Tom is down to 3rd place, Tom from work is up to 2nd place, and I'm now in the lead of this qualifying race, starting, I think it was 5th or 6th from the pit lane. So I was quite happy there to sort of make my way through the field. But of course, I could quite easily win this qualifying race as I make a slight mistake and go wide and pin the throttle. But yeah, I could win this qualifying race but not get the fastest lap in the session, meaning I could not actually start on pole. So interesting dynamic here, but I'm carrying the last couple of corners to win the qualifying race from near enough the back of the field, so I was quite happy with that. But funnily enough, I didn't get the fastest time in qualifying. That was done by Victor, but we've actually decided as a group that we're not going to have qualifying races in this championship anymore. It's complicated and not really needed. So from the 2021 season onwards, we're not going to have qualifying races. Adds an extra layer of complication. So a really great start from Tom from work there, you can see in the black helmet, and Tom, my cousin, actually spins around at the first corner and loses himself a lot of time, and considering he's my main championship rival, of course that was quite a big mistake to be making. But Victor's leading now after starting on pole position, getting a good lap in quali, and Tom from work is starting to go ahead in 2nd place as well. So you can see slow start from myself there on the left hand side of the screen, and Tom from work is going to come flying up the inside of Tom, my cousin. That's a really good start from him, and Tom, my cousin, just making a mistake there, and there might have been a slight contact with Tom from work. It's going to get complicated, and I think there might have been a slight bit of contact, and he went around. But now I try and get the overtake done up into 2nd position there, but it doesn't quite work out. Side by side from Tom from work, but it doesn't quite work. I can't go around the outside here, so I'm going to have to slot in behind and try and go for it once again. But we're not actually really losing time to Victor. And now Tom makes a slight mistake here, and up, down to the start-finish line, and across that, and down into turn 1. I've got the inside line, and I've got the position up into P2 now. Now my eyes are set on chasing down Victor. So you can see here the gap was about 2 seconds, and I've closed that gap down to about 1 second as we go into turn 1. A few laps into this race, and there's a problem with my car. I just steer in and no turning whatsoever. Problem with my left front. I think the steering arm broke, and unfortunately for me, that was my race done. So yeah, I tried to bring it to a safe finishing place, but unfortunately I couldn't quite do that. But I did manage to bring it to a halt eventually. But I get sent out the pit lane here, a couple of laps down. I think I lost 3 laps. I think it was 3 laps. We didn't actually get a printout for this session, so I've had to work out the results manually. But nonetheless, it wasn't a good start today for me. So I come out of the pits. I've got a few lapped cars in front in terms of the leader, but I've let Tom through here. He actually spun. That's Tom from work. He actually spun, and then my dad spun as well. Everyone was spinning. It was a very slippery circuit here. So I go down the inside of my dad here. I mean, it's not for position. I've already been lapped a couple of times at this point. So I'm just really out there trying to set good lap times, of course, because we do get points for fastest lap overall, and down the order as well. But I wasn't holding my hopes up because I was really struggling. So you can see I let my dad go through here as well. and yeah, I didn't want to get in the way of his race. I knew he was having a pretty decent race at this point. He'd lost a bit of time to the leaders early on, but unfortunately for me that was pretty much the end of the race, and I finished, I think, 7th overall. But for some reason I got put 5th on the grid for the second race, which didn't seem particularly fair, but you know, we can't argue with the marshals in this regard, and of course it was to my benefit. Dom goes down my inside and has a spin. That was quite unfortunate because he was looking quite quick towards the end of the first race. Now on board with myself as we go through the first corner on a couple of laps into this race, and I'm actually trying to close down and pass John here. As Tom L, my cousin, actually leading this race. He won that first race, by the way. He came through from spinning on the first corner of the first lap on that first race. He went down to last place and then ended up winning it. Quite incredible. Really good stuff from Tom there, and that really closes up the championship. And you can see Victor's taken the lead of the second race here. Tom has dropped to second, just ahead of Tom from work, and I've managed to get my way up to 4th place. Now, it's a Tom by Tom, side by side, and Tom from work gets past Tom in the championship. So that's really good overtaking. That's quite a bold one down the inside. Now I'm seeing Tom's quite slow here, so I'm thinking this could be an opportunity to overtake, and he slightly misjudges turn 1, and I go down the inside of him here. But I was starting to feel a problem with my kart at this point. You'll be able to see, I think it's here. Yes, it is. Tom just blasts past me. I'm not sure whether it was a problem that I had through the whole race or whether it just started to get worse and worse as the event went on, but there was some serious problems with the top end speed of my kart. It wasn't revving at all, and we'll see this now on multiple occasions through the rest of this race. My top end speed was severely down, and this was really hampering my chance of getting any sort of race here. You can see I'm looking down and wondering what on earth is happening, and Dom, who spun on the first corner of the first lap but did still have good pace, managed to just fly past me in a straight line. So you can see here he's about half a second back, and he just flies past me into this first corner like I'm not even there. So unfortunately, pretty apparent problems wrong with my kart here, and considering I had the issue in the first race, I wasn't a particularly happy camper. So I'm trying to get down the inside of Dom here, and he left the door open, and I was a little bit frustrated at this point, I'm not going to lie. So I was just trying to go for overtakes, even though looking at the long game here, I was losing time because I was holding Dom up, whereas if I tried to just sort of slot in behind Dom and follow him, then I might have been able to sort of catch up with Tom and possibly get onto the podium here. But you know, battling with Dom so aggressively here, maybe not really aggressively, but so determined to stay ahead of him, wasn't helping me out. But there we go. There's a bit more of a gesture from myself there. That wasn't a gesture at Dom, it was a gesture like, what's going on with my car? And of course I was getting a bit frustrated at this point, of course, after having the issue in the first race. So once again, not really learning from my lessons at this point, going back down the inside of Dom, and then once again he just gets me on the straight nice and easily once he's got that top end speed advantage. He was quite far back that time, and he just comes flying past me, and yeah, at this point I was kind of raging because I was like, this is nothing I can do about this, and I'm really struggling. Once again Dom makes a mistake, goes wide, and I get back past him once again. That's the thing with Dom in this second race, he was really quick. He actually got the fastest lap of the race by, I think, nearly half a second. But he was quite inconsistent, unfortunately, and if he didn't have that spin at the first corner, I think many of us think he could have won this race. But that was a tough one for me to take there. He just drove all the way around the outside of me with that top end speed advantage, and it's not really a weight thing either. I mean, we saw in the first part of the session, the qualifying race, I was doing completely fine. That first kart was alright until the issue with the front turning arm, and yeah, unfortunately just the second kart I got into really was severely lacking top end speed, which was hampering my lap time. I'd say at least a second, but probably a little bit more, because I went back and looked at my lap times from the year before, and I was a second and a half quicker, just to put it in perspective. So here's Dom going the outside of Tom from work, the last couple of corners to take a podium position. Great stuff there from Dom. He came back through spinning around very early on in this race, the first lap, to take home a podium position. So really good stuff from him, and I think he was quite happy with that result at the end of it. But personally, a bad weekend for myself. I lost a lot of points in our championship. I had built up a decent lead over Tom, my cousin, early on in this championship after getting quite a lot of victories at Filching and Team Sport, but the gap now after 3 rounds is just 13 points, so it's all up to grabs. And you know, when you're considering a race victory is 25 points in all of the remaining races, a lot is on offer here, and it's a very close championship between us. And as you've probably heard, I've got a bit of a cold, so fingers crossed the next round I can be fully fit and going for the victories, but I'm a little bit sceptical. I'm hoping that it won't make too much of an effect. Right, you probably can't see me at this point. It's got quite late and quite dark. But yeah, that was the third round of the kart championship, and yeah, obviously quite gutted about my result. I mean, I know it seems over dramatic for what is just a friendly family championship, but you know, I'm a competitive person and I don't like it when it doesn't go well. I mean, fair play if I'd lost that race anyway, but I was catching up to the lead before my kart broke in the first race. Whether that was my fault or not, obviously we'll never know. But I was taking a few curbs, but I think everyone was. So yeah, I think partly maybe just hammering the curves a bit too much, and partly just a bit of bad luck that my kart was the one to have that issue. And second race, I just had no top end speed. I probably would have said that in commentary already, but yeah, a bit disappointed there. I'm not really sure what happened. I'll have to review the footage, but you'd have already seen by this point what was happening. But yeah, very strange. But nonetheless, it's just one event, and I can't really let myself get annoyed about it. It's just a bit of fun at the end of the day. Obviously, we're all going there just to enjoy ourselves, but within the context of our mini championships, it's taken quite a big hit to my points lead. But as I said, let's not take it too seriously. It's supposed to be just a bit of fun. So yeah, I mean, I guess happy that that's over and done with now. Just looking forward to the next round, which is at a track that none of us have been to before, which is Q Leisure, Brighton karting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one actually. It looks like quite an interesting track, lots of ups and downs, and a flyover section as well. So different, very different to the majority of, or all of the tracks you really do. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that all plays out. But yeah, I've also got to show you some footage that we got yesterday, which was at Brands Hatch. I don't know whether I've mentioned that in the video already, but yeah, yesterday we went to the rallies at Brands Hatch, the winter stages. They hold it every year. As I said, I hadn't been for a very long time, so it was nice to be back. And yeah, I'll show you that footage now. I'm not going to show you everything I took, but just maybe a few little highlights. But I'm still testing out my new camera, so I'm looking forward to sort of just seeing the improvements over time as I understand it. As I come from a video and film production background over university, but I'm still learning this camera because it's very different to anything I've ever sort of owned or used before. So yeah, hopefully enjoy that footage and let me know what you think.
Asking the co-driver which way it was. They come to the line on the stage, so somebody may get it wrong at the merge or split, or somebody thinks the top of Paddock Hill Bend this is. Car 5 now will split left, and then heading to the end of the absolutely.
So as always, it's good to be at Brands Hatch, always a good time. It wasn't actually as cold as I thought it was going to be. Brands Hatch at that time of year especially is normally very cold, but yeah, thankfully it wasn't too bad. And also interesting to note that there's some sort of track improvements around clearways. They're doing some new buildings, not new building, new building. I think they're extending the gravel runoff around the clearways, which is interesting, and they're going to hopefully build a better spectator area, which is quite interesting. I'm obviously hoping from a spectator's point of view that you could still watch from around there, because that was always a great place to view. But nonetheless, I guess if we look at it as a whole, it's probably still a decent weekend. The winter stages at Brands Hatch were really good, and even though karting didn't really go my way, you can't win them all, and you know, I've got to take that as a learning experience. And you know, there are a few things that I wish I'd done better even in the moment, but that second race, on reflection, I think I'm going to be quite proud of the way that I managed to somewhat stay within the top guys, even though the deficit with, you know, the issue with the car was really hampering me. So yeah, I'm got to take the positives out of that. But nonetheless, I'm going to end this video here, because you're probably just watching basically a black screen with me speaking at this point, because it's going to be that dark. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Part 3 will be up next weekend, and hopefully I'm going to get over this cold. You can probably tell I've got a bit of a blocked nose and all that, and it's not been the most fun week. So yeah, fingers crossed that's fixed for the next event. So thank you for watching. As always, I massively appreciate your support, and yeah, I'll try not to record videos in the pitch dark in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon for more. Goodbye.